Excuse for the ongoing evolution of the U.S. nuclear weapons stockpile, which these two gentlemen will further discuss and elaborate on, and provides the mechanism and the excuse for providing U.S. nuclear weapons with new military capabilities, which has been consistently denied by the U.S. government at the highest levels. So that'll be the end of my general remarks. To get more specific about plutonium pit production, you all are going to know that, when we say pits, we're talking, like the core of the weapon, the fissile core. I once went to Russia and had a fact sheet translated, and I looked up at my Russian colleagues, and they all had these quizzical looks on their faces, and I didn't know what was going on. But to make a long story short, pits got translated in writing as, shafts or holes in the ground instead of like the cores of a peach. So no, a pit's not a hole in the ground. It is the core of a nuclear weapon. Now, y'all are aware of the history of Los Alamos, the birthplace of atomic and nuclear weapons. I can look out my window and see Los Alamos 20 miles away, which is why I like to live out the west is best, because you can actually see 20 miles. So I could see Los Alamos, and then I flew out of Albuquerque Airport, which is what Sandia Labs is located on. It shares the airstrip with the Coghlan Air Force Base, and if you know where to look, about a mile and a half south of the runways is probably the largest repository, almost certainly in the U.S., of nuclear weapons, and perhaps the world. There's like 2,500 warheads sitting underground in a complex. So that gives you an idea of the state of New Mexico, which, the nickname is the land of enchantment, and it truly is. It's just a beautiful state, but it's such a weird state. With the presence of the Department of Energy. Now, to get down to plutonium pits, that, of course, is basically what the Manhattan Project was mostly about, producing the Nagasaki bomb. Now, on the Hiroshima bomb, which was a uranium bomb, and Ralph's going to talk about uranium, they didn't bother to, they were so certain it was going to work, they didn't bother to test it. And somebody we know who would know says that there's a classified museum up in Los Alamos. And this person told me that there's a baseball cap sitting on a shelf in this classified museum, and it says Fat Boy, which, the name of the bomb, but it says, let's see, designed in Los Alamos, tested in Japan. And that's the baseball cap. And, I see you all are kind of horrified. I was too, the cavalier attitude that displays. Although I'd still love to have that baseball cap. But anyway, so they didn't need to test a uranium weapon. Now, a plutonium weapon is a different animal, obviously. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, I think the physicists of the Manhattan Project were giants compared to the pygmies that now run the weapons complex. It's amazing what they did. And it's all about, plutonium is so useful because you can miniaturize the warheads and, put them on missiles, etc. Now, that was the timer telling me out of time, so I better attempt to quickly wrap things up. The Los Alamos was the birthplace of plutonium pit production. It got transferred to the Rocky Flats plant, which would produce, a couple thousand pits a year during the height of the Cold War. The FBI shut that down in a 1989 raid investigating environmental crimes. The Alliance awarded the FBI agent, John Lipsky, the guy who led that raid a couple of years ago. So it's incredible what John did. Los Alamos is now in the process of Well, Congress, in its infinite wisdom, required that plutonium pit production be expanded from the current level of 20 pits per year to up to 80 by the year 2027. I know who drafted that legislation, and it's nuclear neocons, its staff on the Strategic Forces Subcommittee of the House Armed Services Committee that managed to write that into law. But even though it's now a congressional requirement, all is not lost. We have a couple of things on our side, and I'll start with what at times is the sheer incompetence of Los Alamos National Laboratory. Their main plutonium facility has only recently resumed operations after being shut down for 4 years because of serious nuclear criticality safety issues. And furthermore, Los Alamos currently has no place to send its radioactive plutonium contaminated waste because on Valentine's Day 2014, a radioactive waste barrel prepared at Los Alamos ruptured in the underground in the waste isolation pilot plant, contaminating 21 workers and shutting it down for 3 years. And it's only recently resumed very limited operations. Now, tying it to the future evolution, first of all, Los Alamos and the weapons scientists, this of course is a gravy train in terms of money, pit production. They can spend endless money on it. There was a Walmart-sized facility, new plutonium facility, that was canceled initially in 2012 because of escalating costs. But as I said, I'm not going to get into the weeds. You can find this, but their so-called alternative is going to no doubt cost at least too much. And I'll just end now restating what I previously said. The Stockpile Stewardship Program has been a fig leaf all along, and expanded pit production is all about future weapons to come, not maintaining the safety and reliability of the existing stockpile. One of the future weapons is the interoperable warhead that Marilia already talked about. I want to reiterate something she said. We know the Navy doesn't want it because somebody leaked a Navy memo to Marilia and I. The Navy doesn't want this interoperable warhead. And in part, to continue to answer Claire's question, in part it's again about profit, endless make work. The interoperable warhead is mostly a Livermore project that Marilia has failed to completely eradicate.
Got it in the freezer for 5 years.
Yeah. But I want to suggest that, this whole plutonium business at Los Alamos, it's one big house of cards. And if we push hard enough, and given Los Alamos incompetence, and I'm not just being snide, I'm being factual, Los Alamos incompetence and other things, if we push hard enough, we can prevent it from coming. And I'm already way over time, and you have better presenters than myself, but I look forward to Q&A.
All right, thanks.